All right. This is Shaquakara from GMS, Virginia. And first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kakodash. Second, we'll give double honor to our apostles of GMS who rule of well, that rule of and teach as well. And peace, peace, blessing, salutation to the whole free elect that consists of you so-called Negro, Latinos, Hispanics, Native American, West Indians, which makes up the 12 tribes of Israel today that has been found and no longer tossed to and fro. And the Lord's will be edified. And I'm going to start off with Colossians. I was reading this, and this is in the NLT, and this first part 1 and 2 hit me. You got this thing going on now with Jake, and basically the world, etc. Basically my point, what I'm trying to get at is that everybody thinks that this Bible, this truth is for everybody. And you got these fucking bozos, these dorks, these losers, fucking morons here, Genesis talking about, this, Gentiles can be saved. Now, we get it with certain things that happen with certain other nations, but pretty much overall, the Lord did what he did basically to usher out the prophecies and for prophecies to pretty much come forth. And ultimately we get here today here in America. But overall, and the foot down, hoorah, this salvation, the complete, what is it, Daniel the 7th, the stone going to cut down the statue, break down the statue, submit and subdue all the nations. Yeah, it's not going to be no salvation for everybody. It's not going to be no redeeming of the other nation. The other nations are going into slavery. If you're not an Israelite, so be it. Here it is. Everybody in this world and everybody, the other nations in this time zone, this time that we're living in now, has been able to reign and reign supreme, and then talk shit against the Israelites and show us no mercy. Pretty much going into the parable about Lazarus. So, Colossians 1 and 1. This letter is from Paul, chosen by the will of Yahweh to be an apostle of Hamashiach Yahushua, and from my brother Timothy. We are writing to Yahweh's holy people in the city of Colossae, who are faithful brothers and sisters in Yahushua. May Yahweh our Father give you grace and peace. And I asked, what hit me was verse 2. We are writing to Yahweh's holy people in the city of Colossae. So that, you read different versions, it says different things, but we understand this. The people that Paul was writing to were Israelites, and Israelites only. And what stood out to me was when it said we are writing to Yahweh's holy people. Now I asked ChatGPT what made Israel holy. Because you got to ask yourself this, what makes a people holy? What did Yahweh do so significant that made Israelites so holy to them? Because we are known on the earth as the only holy people. So it says in the Hebrew Bible, the Israelites were considered holy, not because they were morally perfect, but because they were set apart by Yahweh for a special purpose. So it's going to give key reasons. Yahweh's choice. That's the number one, election. Yahweh chose Israel out of all the nation to be in a special relationship with him. So this is Leviticus 20:26. Ye shall be holy to me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and I have separated you from the peoples. Holiness here means belonging to Yahweh. 2, the covenant. And we understand, the first one was racist and prejudice. There you go. You can say what you want to say. The covenant. Now we all know nobody was there with the Israelites during the time of the covenant at Sinai. 2, the covenant. At Sinai, Yahweh entered into a covenant with Israel. By accepting it, Israel became a covenant people, bound to Yahweh in a unique way. Exodus 19 all the way to the 24th chapters. So Yahweh dwelt among them first in the tabernacle, later in the temple, which is Yahweh Shah. Anything associated with Yahweh's presence, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah's presence, people, places, objects became holy. For the law, Torah, the commandments shaped Israel's daily life, worship, ethics, food, time, and social justice. Obedience didn't create holiness, but was how Israel lived out their holy calling. So this was a law, this was a lifestyle, you know. So that kind of showed obedience didn't create holiness. So you can't be a spiritual Israel. You can't just be a spiritual Israelite. We know about the thing about the Herodians, etc. You know, you had what is it? Herod, that was his father was Antipater, which was a Edomite, and he tried to pretty much marry himself into being an Israelite. Hey, but it doesn't work like that. You have people today that swear and believe that they can be a spiritual Israelite. Well, they're wrong. They're stupid as hell. Um, 5, ritual and moral distinctiveness. So practices like dietary laws, Sabbath observance, festivals, and purity laws mark Israel as different from surrounding nations. Moral commands, justice, care for the poor, faithfulness were just as central as ritual ones. So again, I'm gonna read that again back in Colossians 1 and 1. This is the letter from Paul, chosen by the will of Yahweh to be an apostle of Hamashiach Yahushua. And from our brother Timothy, we are writing to Yahweh's holy people, so Israelite people in the city of Colossae, who are faithful brothers and sisters in Yahushua. May Yahweh our Father give you grace and peace. So we're getting more understanding. So going back to 6, imitating Yahweh's character. Israel was called to reflect Yahweh's holiness and behavior. They said, be holy, for I, the Lord, your power, am holy. Leviticus 19 and 2. So then, in short, the Israelites were holy because Yahweh chose them, entered into covenant with them, dwelt among them, and called them to live differently as his people. Holiness meant being set apart for Yahweh's purposes, not being flawless. Let me see something. That's pretty much. I don't want to be too long. So let me see this, right? I also asked ChatGPT this: were there Israelites in the land of Colossae? If by land you mean Colossae, the ancient city in Phrygia, Asia Minor, modern Western Turkey, then yes. It says Jews, Israelites were present in that region, though Colossae itself was not an Israelite land. Here's the clear picture. Was Colossae an Israelite land? It says no. Colossae was a Greek Phrygian city under late Persian then Roman rule. It was far outside the biblical land of Israel, Canaan. 2, were Israelites, Jews living there? It says yes, there were Jewish communities in Phrygia. Well, Israelite communities in Phrygia, including the area around Colossae. The history Josephus records that Antiochus III, 200 BCE, relocated thousands of Jews to Phrygia and Lydia. By the 1st century CE, Jews were well established throughout Asia Minor, so Israelite foreigners. You know, that's what Peter, Paul, and the other apostles, which were bound to set to go to teach the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that were outside of Jerusalem. That was their mission. You know, to teach. Those were the Gentiles, those Israelites that were in Asia Minor, and outside of Israel, Jerusalem, which did what? They became heathens and lost their way. Three, biblical evidence. Acts 2, 9, and 10 mentions Jews from Asia, showing it says Jew presence there. Um, Colossians reflects Jew religious influences, Sabbath, food laws, circumcision, which strongly suggests either Jew believers or it goes off. Let me see. So Israelites versus Jews, important distinction. Israelites, the ancient covenant people of Israel. Jews, Israelites, mainly from Judah, living during and after the exile. Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Modern day West Indians, Jamaicans, those surrounding islands, um, and then Levi, the so-called Haitians, including the Roman period. In the time of Colossians and Paul, Jews is the correct term, though they are descendants of Israelites. So yeah, you pretty much get the point. These a lot of these all these accounts and these letters and these messages and this gospel were given to the Israelites, which were outside of Jerusalem. So when you see certain things, you got to understand those were Israelites in those areas. It wasn't given to actual Gentiles, man. You know, I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's late. I gotta get wake up for the man. Gotta go slave on that plantation. But the Lord's way was edified. Lord's way, I'll be back tomorrow. With that, I'm say shalom.